work session of the Trinidad Tourism Board, Wednesday, June the 8th at 9:03. We'll take roll, no roll.
Campbell.
Here.
Press.
Here.
Michaels. Here. Miller.
Yes.
Richardson. Here.
Items of discussion.
June 22nd. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
All right. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'll make that correction, sorry.
Digital kiosk, Main Street Group.
Oh, hi. So apparently we're both trying to do this project, and Main Street Group had been doing some research into getting most people can always hear me.
Yeah, we can.
I guess I
We
should
just want to make it a little bit more formal and put you on camera.
I guess I should start and introduce myself to the people who don't know me. I'm Karen Jaragnello, and I am a member of the Historic Main Street Board. And our role of many is to improve the beautification of Main Street and usability and visitation. And so that when people come to our Main Street, that they're engaged and stay and shop and spend money. So we've like to have an opportunity to put a kiosk on Main Street. Our first envision was just a map. We wanted to get a really nice, good map, maybe one that was etched into metal or something like that. But businesses change so quickly, and their menus change, and their locations change. Tease Me, Treat Me is now split into two different places. So we needed something more dynamic. So we had this fantasy of a much smaller budget when we started out, and realized that this was going to be a project that was far above our funding sources, unfortunately, once I started looking into it. I also realized that this is very, very popular among many communities, large communities such as Atlanta. I was watching a video of just a small, very small business district in Atlanta that had their kiosk of just their little couple of blocks, and how it would improve their marketing in that community. And what we had envisioned would be a kiosk, most likely near the birdcage. That seems to be a really good spot that has enough landscape, real estate area around it that it could be put there. We also saw ones that were interesting, that were kind of a good opportunity for safety, were ones that were actually built into a window. But we don't have the chamber or anybody on a Main Street location that actually has a big enough window that could be used, unfortunately. So
Space to create.
Yep.
Space to create might. You're right.
That was my suggestion when Marty put it up, was space to create.
And that might actually be an opportunity to pair with them.
But the miners is.
I think personally mine is better because we don't know when Space Create is going to be up. I'm sorry, but
I also
August
think
4th is
there should be
now
one
we've
on
heard so many
commercial.
different stories. So.
I'd love to have $50,000 twice.
Yeah, and I also think on West Main, where you have
The little thing.
right.
That was our first thought, was to put it there. And then we realized that doesn't get a lot of walking traffic, so we were thinking something more central. And so location isn't quite as important right this second as opportunity to realize that this is a viable thing that we'd like to do in our community. The research I had done may or may not be the exact same research that Marty's been doing. And I reached out to several different companies, and back and forth, and two have really come back with the most communication. And we're looking into the $40,000-$50,000 range now that we're getting upselling ourselves, right? First I thought,
How big is the 40-50?
So at first I was thinking, we only need a screen about this big, and then I realized you can't see that from the street, right? We're gonna need to get a screen that size in order for people to see it and realize that they need to stop and go look at it. And interestingly enough, most of the kiosks arrangements that I saw were in a vertical orientation. I kind of would like it more in a horizontal orientation, but there's three main components that I have found, and you may have found the similar things, is the kiosk itself. And that also can be modified to have advertising on it as well. So there's the steel box that has all of the hardware on it. Then you're looking at the dynamic presentation of the screen. And then the third component that you're looking at is the software. The software is the most important component, is that we want it to not be something that I can just pull up on my phone. If it's the same thing I can pull up on my phone, I'm not gonna use it. I wanna make sure it's dynamic and that it changes regularly with things that are happening in our community, and that it gives an opportunity for establishments in our community to also put their preferred stuff on it. So we might say Tease Me, Treat Me is on the map, and I can tap that map and I can see their hours, but it doesn't tell me what they have. So maybe Tease Me, Treat Me might want to pay $25 to have their special of the week pop up. And especially we wanna have all of our events, our arcades and our rad bike series, possibly scrolling as banners, things like that, so that they're really eye-popping. And I'm sure you saw very similar videos of larger communities and how they would use these to promote their regular events that we have. The dynamic of the software is what I think really we need to spend our time looking at, because I think all of these are gonna have very similar housings. The boxes are gonna be very similar. The screen is gonna be a screen. It's that software that's gonna give us the opportunity to really make a difference in the splash.
Who's gonna program all this?
Well, that's what we're really hoping. As we speak, Victor has put in an application to be the creative.
Main Street manager and creative district board manager.
So we would, and he's actually just built an app in the past week. He just built an app that he's been playing with. And I think he would be a wonderful asset. He's very involved with what Main Street's doing, and he would be able to do that programming, and it's dynamic, it's on the fly. He does it at a computer, boom, it's on the kiosk immediately. So that any events that come in, he can immediately put on there. And if Tease Me, Treat Me is having apple pie for dessert today and they want to put it on there, boom, he can put it on there immediately. I think that this is a revenue source for us. Maybe not to recoup our investment in the beginning, but I think it's a really good opportunity for a revenue source that we can tap into our community. Not initially, I think right now we need to get it out there for the community, have a map. And then once people see it, they'll want.
How would it tap into our revenue source?
Because I think we could use it for advertising. If we have Tease Me, I keep using them as a if we have Tease Me, Treat Me and on the map, and the map is all digital, and I can say I'm here and I want to go there, it'll take me in a walking path to it.
Probably.
And the thing of it is that you could have multiple ads running at
Yes, I tap Tease Me, Treat Me, you don't have their apple pie. I tap Fisher's Peak Outfitters, and it can tell me their Columbia jackets are on sale today. And then tomorrow they're gonna have a different pie for dessert.
Who would handle the sales and collections and stuff?
That's a good question. I don't know if that would go, if we're partnering with tourism, it seems like that might be an opportunity for the city to actually have that revenue source that way.
Could you do it out of your store, the Welcome Center store,
Do what?
selling the ads?
That's a lot.
That's a whole
And that's
different
a
thing.
good question.
But it would be creating money for,
Tourism.
But I think you'd need a subscription
You know.
that somebody pays for and
Yeah.
then they go directly to.
Yeah, it's a whole different line item, Tom, I couldn't loop it in.
And to me, that seems like, because with the Main Street performance, the way I understand it, if you guys got that going and you have your Main Street coordinator director, it would help, they're supposed to be able to get money and make money to pay for the Main Street director.
Yes, that
Everyone.
might
I mean,
be.
they're having an
Besides,
expense.
well, even
The
to,
problem is, our Main Street board is not a 501c3, we're under the city, so we cannot make any money.
We can't take the money, but we
So-
could administer it. So
We could
Victor could
administer
quite
and give the money
possibly.
to you guys.
Victor could take the money and then the city will administrate. It will
Yes.
go into the city.
We can figure out a process.
Yeah, that's.
Definitely it could go to
Yeah.
Victor's salary, but
well,
So it's a detail that I think, we don't have the specifics, but I think the potential's there.
Yeah.
That this project might actually be a revenue stream
And
eventually.
that's a minute thing right now, that money revenue, because we'll get it into somebody's coffers real quick.
Somebody. But
well, the thing of it
You
is
know?
to purchase more of these kiosks.
Well, that's the
Right.
biggest thing, you
That's-
put it
Take
in
money.
and say,
And
put your
to
more
pay-
coffers.
And to pay for the one that,
And let
to
it
pay
sit
for the
there.
one that we we.
And let the money sit there so we can buy another one.
Because if the tourism board gives $50,000 to purchase it, it would only be right that we maybe
Get money back.
possibly recoup some of the money
Right.
to continue with the project.
That was my goal. In the beginning, as I said, we started out with a much smaller project and this has morphed. And then when I realized that this was not something that was sustainable through our organization, I had talked, Kim Schultz is on our committee also, and she's very busy with the project right now. When she finished, I said, well, we're gonna go to tourism and see if they can help us. So I'm delighted to see that you guys are also interested in this project. I'd be more than happy to let you have the whole entire project, but I just wanted to share with you what we were already thinking of.
Well, we've been thinking of it too,
Okay,
haven't
so-
we? That's why
so-
Marty's been after it.
So I'd love to partner with you if you
Yeah.
guys are interested. If you guys wanna take it all, that's fine too, if you have all the money.
No, I think we all wanna partner with you.
I have some hesitation around the advertisement component of it. I realize it's further down the road. I feel like our job is to promote Main Street and to promote our businesses. And I think the administration of having an individual restaurant, say, have an apple pie special, is gonna be so expensive to have them email Victor and then him type it in on a daily
On a
basis.
daily basis.
It's gonna cost more than you're gonna make in revenue. But you
Maybe
could
just
do,
more an information center.
yeah,
So
more
it might be-
information.
I would think
different.
of more of an
I mean, it's possible you could sell some advertising, so there's some banners around
Maybe
things,
so,
but
yeah.
they're more stagnant. And then as businesses update their hours and things like that, they would need to send them to him. But I do think there's some challenges with something like that, at least unless the businesses themselves have a portal to that software to update their own information, which I think as a business owner would be really nice, because from week to week, especially with labor issues, you may be changing your hours or something like that, and so it becomes quite cumbersome.
And so you're right, maybe it's something that we sell a subscription, that for X amount of money per month or per year, you have access to that particular icon and you get to do what you want. So those are all things that we can work out details later.
So maybe the thing is we could start out as an information center and
And then see what goes.
There's enough stuff going on in Trinidad that would take the whole thing.
Yeah, I got 14 pages of events.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are we looking at something like this?
Yes, ma'am, exactly. As I said, a lot of them are vertical, which to me, I like the horizontal because I want that banner to come flying across. So I'm sure that the software people know how to make that happen. Unfortunately, I didn't send this to her last night, but I guess you did send, is this one that you printed out?
This is one that so the mayor and I have been researching this
Okay.
Oh, we've been
ourselves.
researching, yeah.
And so out of the 10 that we looked at, this is the one that we kind of landed on, but
Which company is that?
it's Super Signs.
And that one didn't even cross my desk either,
Did
so.
you see what the cost of those were?
Yes, there's a page in there that actually has it, Tom.
So this one, you're talking about this one right here, the first one,
Yes, this
Okay,
is just
all
one packet
one packet,
out
right?
of the 10 that we looked at.
Okay, yeah, I know.
It's kind of,
It's the same thing, I looked at 10 and narrowed it down to 2.
Is it this one right here?
It's similar, yes.
And so Marty, with your work with the mayor that has been done, and you've seen these, do you feel that, what the price would be?
this was just a little bit above the average, so there was a high end of 52,000. There was a low end of, I think, 16.
Which is based on the screen size most likely, right?
Well, and there's front and there's back, so you can do static advertising on the back end.
Yeah, we need
that
back end.
strings,
And
or you can do maps or, things on the front end. So it depends on what you want.
And do you think the city would have any interest in partnering with Main Street and Tourism to get one of these?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So,
the
we're
other,
working on that.
So a lot of the designs for the metal stand, they have the box, they have some that are historic looking, so we could like
There you
build
go.
it with brick. We
Yeah.
don't really wanna put in stainless steel thing right on our main street, and
Great.
so that could be a
One-
tiny bit
one-
more expense, but
One that's not easy to damage also.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was
Right.
two other considerations that, but you probably have the same thing. Most of the vendors said that, yes, they're waterproof, yes, they're weatherproof, but we get a lot of sun, we get a lot of snow, that we really need to have a really good structure over it. And I think the structure that we currently have in our parking lot, I don't think is secure. I think we need to get something a little better. And again, that's where we can really tap into making it look historic. And the other thing that one of my vendors in particular said, they do the installation so that they make sure that they drill it into the ground. And then we would need to have a hard wire for the Wi-Fi instead of having it be digital, instead of having it be Wi-Fi, it needs hardwired. And then secondly, we need hardwire electricity. And so whether or not that works in the coal miners, I don't know.
There's lights on.
Well, there's electricity there.
So,
on the trees.
yes, but then it has, we have to get it underground or how. So those are all the small details that I have.
Yeah, well, I think there's electricity next to all the trees down
um,
Yeah, there are. Yeah, they could hardwire them.
Okay.
They could do it. That's
So,
not a problem.
so I am super duper excited to know that you guys are also interested in this.
Yeah,
And
we've
I
been
think
looking
it
at
makes a huge impact to our community, to make ourselves special. And one of the places I looked at says that there's an upfront fee for the development of the map.
Yeah.
So we need to have both, we have to have a couple maps, because we're gonna wanna have our regular downtown map. Then we're most likely gonna wanna have the Highway of Legends map. And then we're gonna wanna have the outdoor recreation map that has all the bike trails and our access to the parks. So I don't know if all of that is considered one mapping fee, or if we're gonna have to have multiple fees to develop those maps. Other things
If
to
those
consider.
maps are already developed, it may be.
Those, yeah, they're already developed.
But when they say develop the map, what they mean is all the dynamic stuff that goes with it. So that you have to go to each one of those establishments and put in, the names of all those establishments and the addresses and all those things, that go with it. And the features that are at the park and things like that. And all of our bike trails, because that seems to be a really big, draw to our community right now. Thank you for letting me share what we're doing. And if we can participate with you guys and utilize Victor for the project, I'm just hoping that if Victor becomes our guy. So if that does come to fruition and we can partner with you, we would be thrilled. And thank you so much for asking us here today.
Thank you.
So in our budget, we thought that this was, in our budget, we had no idea how much this was gonna cost, so we asked the city for $5,000. So we will give you our $5,000, that's all we got. But and then we can help
Okay.
with whatever.
Because we had started out with static map.
So you had only, basically went with one company, so there's multiple companies that are out there
Well, she looked at 10 different companies, but narrowed it down to 2
to two.
that
And Marty
she was
narrowed it down
impressed
to
with.
one.
Right.
Okay.
So,
So,
All right.
And then do we have a lead time on any of this? Like say we were to come together to say yes, is this like,
how long
Did it
did
take
did
3
we say
months?
it would take?
The lead time, this one is the one that we talked about, and he's the only one that I'm communicating with right now. And I didn't ask him about a lead time. I wanted to make sure that this is something we wanted to do first before I committed to anything at
yeah.
all.
Yeah, yeah.
The way things go, when you think it's gonna take 3 months, it's gonna be like next year.
It's gonna be next year. Yeah, I know that.
I'm with you.
Yeah, we know
You
that.
saw the banners, you know how long we've been working on that.
So Marty, what would be your recommendation at this stage, knowing that you know what the mayor's been thinking and Main Street's in on it and we're open to it too? What would be our next stage to see for us to move forward?
I think you should probably look at, KJ and I have both done some research, but
There's probably 10 more companies out there.
There's still probably
Yeah.
more out there, so I think
And I
what
think
you need
that's
to
what we
do
need
is
to
you
do.
need to outline, maybe take a look at this one. And it might, raise some questions, maybe they can do this, or maybe they can't do something somebody else does. Or, maybe so I think there's things that you individually need to think about what you want to see. What are the things that we need to have? Do we need to have a historic look? Do we need to have advertising on it? Maybe static advertising? Do we need, what do you want out of the sign?
That
Because
5200
no,
is front and back.
no,
5200
there's
is front
some
and
that
back.
have front and back.
Yeah, see, that's what I think would be great, because if it was facing east and west, you'd have two options on both sides to see what's
You
going
can do
on.
advertising on the back
Right.
side, you can do maps on the front
I'm not
side,
that
you can
good
do,
with that.
they're in, some of them are interactive, some of them are not.
Right.
Some of them.
We could be going up to $100,000.
Now,
you know,
now,
there are
a lot
so
of
many
them,
options.
operate with a touch tone, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
can-
yes, they're all
you
touch
can-
screen.
They're all
you can
touch
put-
screen.
Yeah.
They're all
So,
You know
interactive.
what I would really love if somebody could do, and I don't know how to facilitate that, is like the top 3 companies that you guys have decided on, just find out where they're located in the city and contact that tourism director, that person that's responsible for it, and ask them if you were to do it again, what would you have wanted instead, or if these are top, this is your top notch, so that we have a better idea.
Okay, I can do that.
One other thing that you just mentioned something about the touchscreen, which reminded me that when we build this, we're gonna have to make sure that we have security cameras, because we have stupid people.
Stupid.
Well, and I think a roof, because
roof
not
to-
only the roof to protect it, but while you're standing there, if it's raining or whatever.
That's
to
right,
protect
yes.
it.
Yeah, but you gotta protect against vandalism and stuff.
And
Yeah,
if
so
we
those
built that little thing, would that be something the city would build for us? Is that,
well, we would
That would
probably
have to be a separate line
we would
item.
probably have to get a contract.
We have to get a
And
contract.
if we built something out of brick, because it's all brick in there anyway, then set it inside of it with maybe a little canvas or hard metal.
So write those
Over it.
things down, what are the things you would like to see
But
this piece have? And then I can go in and look at these 3 that we've narrowed it down to and see if those are options for them and ask them if they're options. If we can add such and such, so give me a list, give me a wish list.
okay,
I do think the structure, you could integrate it, like, you know, when you go to a national park or state park,
yes.
they have like the maps and things, so you could put it in the middle that's interactive, and then have stagnant maps of Highway of Legend and the
Yes.
stagnant map of the
Bike
bike
routes.
routes
That too.
next
There
to
you
it, up front
go.
and back, and then you have the interactive stuff for like the businesses and things that are constantly
Yeah,
changing.
put it on your list, I think that's a great idea.
Okay. If you guys did the structure, that would have to then be a separate line item, because we'd be
Right,
going to 2
right.
separate things, right?
right.
And that could really jack our price up
There's
significantly as well.
a company here in town that could
We,
build us a
we might be
bridge
able to
structure.
apply for a grant to help us out with something like
Okay.
that.
And even we can ask
So-
Dola.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
options, we need to kind of nail down what we want,
Right.
where we need to go with it, I'll find out lead times. And then just get me your wish list, let's see what we can do with it. Use this kind of as a template, these are some of the things that are available. Okay,
All right.
okay,
Okay.
Thank you again
Thank
so
you.
much for inviting us, we appreciate it.
Alright, so can you girls tell us, is there something going on July 4th, or what else the thing?
Yes, we're happy to tell you all about it. Good, good, good.
It's our regular July 4th celebration starting at noon. We have bicycle decorating contests for the kids, watermelon eating contests. What else do we have there?
Okay.
Cornhole. We have some fiddlers coming. They're gonna play twice.
Where?
3 times.
If you didn't get to see them, I'm sorry, I'm biased. They're a family of fiddlers, and they're the nationals right now. And if you haven't ever seen this.
Are they from around here?
Yeah, they're up in Rye.
Okay. I know
Where,
that.
where is all of this taking place? On Main Street?
At Central Park.
It's the
Yeah.
Central Park parking lot, because the park itself is busy doing fireworks, so it's not safe. So it's in the parking lot.
Fireworks, is it a little too dangerous to do fireworks this year?
Well, we're
Yeah.
hoping for rain.
Everybody's praying for rain.
Yeah, but even rain, I don't know about that.
It's all firefighters will
it's a
tell
call
us.
that the fire department makes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
fire chief
it's a
makes the
call,
call,
it's a call.
Yeah.
and he'll make that call the last day.
And it's in the park, and we're not in the forest right there.
Right, and they've mitigated all the stuff
Right,
around it, so.
right. So it's still their call.
You said cornhole and there's horseshoes, cornhole and horseshoe.
Horseshoes, it's a family day and it starts at noon and it runs right into the baseball game. And then Trinidad Corral is singing the national anthem, and then,
The kids get to run the bases.
the kids get to go out and play on the field. And then after the game, we have fireworks. I
When is
think
the
there's a
parade?
hot dog eating contest.
When's the parade?
The parade is that morning, so the 4th of July parade is, the
That's it.
Veterans Committee actually does that. And then the water the water parade will follow that. So
Follow that.
you've got activities in the morning with the
Yeah.
parade, you've got Linda usually does like a little, she feeds everybody at Chimino Park and, I mean, there's so much going on 4th of July. It's gonna
And
be
so who
fun.
all, just for us to know, who's all sitting on the Main Street board now?
So it's KJ, Kim Schultz, Jay Gillespie, and me.
And Victor.
And are there any other projects that the Main Street board is working on now or in the future that's on there besides these that we should know
Yeah,
about?
so we asked in our budget for some facade money.
Uh-huh.
So we got $20,000 facade money,
Wow.
which we're gonna be working on after 4th
Uh-huh.
of July. And then we also do the rodeo night, the downtown night at the rodeo, which is September 3rd, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then what else do we have? Budget.
Oh, gracious. Well, have you seen our banners? Yes, so that was a really.
They're also their banners. There are banners.
Okay. And we're gonna do more. We just did 18 and we hope to do more. And then we also hope at the Christmas holidays, we might trade out and do some more events on our banners. But this was just our first pass at it.
Yeah.
Everybody likes it.
Yeah, we're starting to think about what do we want on Christmas banners, on the holiday banners. And then we do the holiday shop local campaign and all the Christmas stuff.
And with that $20,000, what are the type of things that you're thinking of
So,
doing with it?
Well, so DOLA had this, well, the governor had the $63 million that he allotted for facade projects in rural communities. So we had 11 different businesses applied for this.
And the Fox got it.
Huh?
The Fox got.
The Fox got, that one was a little bit different than the 63 million, but Fox got 250,000. Anyway, so we had 11 people apply and we went over the applications and 4 of them, we thought these are solid. So we sent those in, but there were 28 communities that applied for that 63 million and only 14 got it. So we didn't get it.
Is that where Main Street Live got their money for the facade?
No.
Because,
But
They
Main
got it
Street
right.
Live was one of the 4 that we picked.
yeah, because
So we were gonna come to you after we're done, but maybe you already have that money.
And it's a matching.
It's in the works to be
Yes.
done, so.
Yes. But anyway, so when I went to city council and I said, we have all these people interested in fixing up their buildings and they would pay 50% and we pay 50%. And so they said, okay, here, you can try it with 20,000. So I thought, if this year we can help with 20,000, next year we can ask for 40,000 and keep.
20,000 isn't very
Is it
much.
very-
No.
And so,
Not only that, we have to divide it between 4 people.
so
So it's
do,
5,000.
So who are the 4 people you're doing?
Well, we haven't
Okay,
designated 100% yet.
and so with that, like, does the owner of the building put in some funding?
They do 50-50. Yeah.
And then who decides like colors on the building? Because I've always thought pops of colors on different buildings downtown would brighten up the downtown area, similar to where Curly's
Yes.
had been in the past
Right.
and that area.
Right.
pops of color in the community are always really great.
New place.
Yeah, her new places,
You're
blockbuster.
gonna, the front of that,
I know.
front of that building is gonna be.
Yay.
But when you look
Next
at
up.
places like Breckenridge and other places, they purposely do not allow 2 buildings to have the same color next to them, so that you have a light purple next to a yellow, next to a red, next to a stripe.
Right.
So
Encourage the
anti-gray houses.
And I think honestly, that is, they would do that when they apply through the city, right?
Yeah.
And then
And
make their
I mean,
application through the
truly,
city.
Liz, when she painted those buildings,
Mhm.
that is a pop on that color of the street, right? It just automatically lightens up that street. When she first put the stripes on the building, Summer was young, and she said, "Oh, look, we're getting a Victoria's Secret in town." but nonetheless, the pink and stuff really livens up that side of the block. So
Well, we can encourage that. I don't think we
Yeah,
can
but-
demand.
no, I just wondered.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're up
And we
to.
did the benches.
Okay.
We did do benches, hopefully
They look
some more
nice.
benches to the community.
And right now, for some reason, some people decide that the benches are not supposed to be where they are and they take them and put them in storage. It's like,
Can we not bolt them to the ground?
yeah, we have 2 benches in storage.
So are we taking them back out?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, they shouldn't have got taken off to start with.
And so who's responsible for those things?
Who's responsible for taking them off or getting them back on?
Well, who took, what?
Well, one was in front of the Fox and they had to move it.
They have to
Okay.
do that with it.
So that makes sense, but
That
it
makes
shouldn't
sense.
go to
It should
storage,
just
it should
move
go
it.
to the next spot.
Right.
These are different spots designated, if they pull one,
Yes, but
they didn't get.
nobody seems to ask us or.
They probably put it in there because they want it back and they didn't want anybody else to have it.
That could happen.
That's probably
Yeah.
very, very.
But there was a lack of communication. But don't you think
Lack
that
of
it should
communication.
go somewhere else while they're working?
Well, because then that person might get upset when they take it out.
Artists are not happy that their benches are
True,
not
they
out.
should.
Probably have communication with.
Yeah, communication.
with
Where was the other one at?
In front of this Trinidad sign. They had to get to it to,
Wow,
in there,
that one
so-
went?
Yeah, so.
he did come in pretty upset. I had to send him a picture of it to prove to his friends that it was out at some point.
Oh.
Really?
So-
That's
so-
why I don't want everyone in my.
Sometimes a
town.
lack of communication between the city and different boards causes problems because the artists are so proud, you know, and we're proud of them. And then we put it out and then all of a sudden it disappears and we don't know.
Well, I understand, you know,
Yeah.
I had a hard time with benches at my store way back, and I removed them.
Yeah.
Because of the homeless, that sit
Right.
there and park and sleep, and,
Right.
you know, and I moved them out. I hate to say that, but
Kirby did suggest that when we started this project,
yeah,
that was one of Kirby's
it's really
recommendations.
hard, you know.
But for the most part, they've been
Well, the most
successful.
part, yeah.
We put in a
In the interest of everybody's time.
Yep.
Okay, all right, yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tom,
Okay.
Mr. Tom, Dawn, I don't know that I've met you before, and I'm
Nice
interested,
meeting
you
you.
asked about what's happening in the community. If you're on Facebook, there's a Facebook page called The Voice of Trinidad, and there's 14 pages of stuff to do in our
Okay.
community.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Tourism Recovery Marketing Grant.
Yeah, Jay's wife. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. My husband's on the board, so I like hearing about their projects. Before we get into this grant, you did say we could look into a grant for the kiosk. I'd love to maybe find out some data about usage, like who usually uses those kiosks, 'cause, yeah, what sort of
That's
age
the-
folks?
That's the target group.
What is the target group?
The target group for usage of the kiosk
Yeah,
would be visitors.
yeah, like what sort of age? do you
Protecting.
think? Okay, so
All
like-
ages, anybody that comes through town that isn't, you know, that has to be walking the street,
Is there data around who does use them?
probably pull that up.
Okay,
We would need to have that for the grant or a grant.
but yeah, just any sort of data around it, I think would be useful. Yeah, cool, because then that'll help you, figure out who, yeah, great. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, it's a rendering. This isn't actually there.
That's a rendering, but there are some locations that actually have it.
Interesting. Okay, so the tourism recovery marketing grant that you all got, the 4 pages on?
Yes.
This is in your packet.
So just sort of what y'all are thinking, if you think, if you have a marketing or promotional campaign that you're trying to fund, or if, it sounds like you're maybe still working on it because of the.
So the eligible use of funds, Talitha, will you kind of go over that with them real quick, so they have an idea of what we can apply for?
Creative execution specific to your marketing and promotional campaign, such as creative advertising production, print, digital, out-of-home, video, social, and radio, content development, written, video, or audio, photography, videography, and post-production editing, audio development, radio, podcasts, etc., print and collateral, brochures, visitors' guides, posters and maps, or marketing execution specific to your marketing and promotional campaign. media placement, print, digital, out of home, television, paid social and radio, social media and influencer initiatives, public relations initiatives, search engine marketing initiatives, SEO, paid search.
So.
So I just don't know what y'all are planning for your marketing and promotional
I just
campaigns,
wanna
it
get
sounds like,
on
but it sounds like.
one thing real quick and then I'll get off. We did that one with the filming. Did you ever hear anything about that when they came here and talked with the mayor? And they were supposed to put that, it was 2 years ago now.
Remind me, what?
It was, they came and they did a segment with the mayor. And the reason I brought that up
Oh,
is
that's
because
the one that
the
Rodney
digital,
introduced us to,
Right.
yes.
whatever happened to
Well,
that?
we gave big bucks for that
We
thing.
did give big
We give big
$10,000,
bucks, so now
we
it's
$10,000 for
Yes,
that,
and
and
that
never
was
reached
never
fruition.
materialized.
Apparently,
And I just wanted to get on and off it.
I had
Just
Les
'cause I
look
saw
into it, and in the contract, it was written so as that if there was an act of like Mother Nature or something like that, or anything that kept them from doing the production, that they weren't responsible. So it happened to be COVID.
Yeah, but we've been fighting with them a couple years before that
Yeah,
COVID
it was
too.
It was
That was
actually
way
a year.
before COVID.
It was a year before the COVID.
Yeah, and that arcade should really step up to the plate on that one. You know, we gave them a lot of money for that.
Well, we didn't give it to Artocade, we gave it to the
To them,
production company.
So is.
So I had him look into it, and that's
So
what.
is it basically, we lost that money?
We lost.
We lost our money.
So I have a question. I mean, we don't really have a marketing plan right now. That's, I think, part of the problem. Like, we don't have a comprehensive plan or a goal or anything necessarily. Like, I mean, I love the idea of doing some recovery marketing grant, and I'm never one to say no to grant money.
This is something you can use for reprinting the visitor guide that you currently have on hand.
Right.
I do think, like, Wally made a really nice video for a bike thing not too long ago, where he had somebody hit drone footage up on Simpson's Rest, you know, and I mean, I do think some of those pieces, you get a lot of mileage out of those on your social media and your websites. And since we, I think, have somebody redoing our website, but did I hear rumors that she's leaving and there might not be somebody else?
The website's different.
Okay.
Basically,
But some
Different with the
content,
municipal
basically some content on what we're trying to sell,
yeah.
you know?
Maybe if we focused on outdoor
Main
recreation
Street.
content, or if we focused on just one thing for this particular grant, and then focused on something else for another grant, just so that we're not all over the place and we have a real, you know, something really dynamic where, you know, I mean, I don't know, I thought that video that they did, I don't know who produced it, but I thought it was really great. And they did several of them, and they were really fun and dynamic, and I think we'd get a lot of traction for something like that. But I do think we need to focus on what it is we'd want if we were to do this
That's what we're
grant.
doing, that's why I brought it to you, so that you can decide what you want to do with it. The total amount, Talitha, was how much?
The maximum grant amount is $500,000, 10% match,
10%.
And how much?
10% match.
$500,000, 10% match. So you need to have, it's a funding ratio of 1 to 10, so if you don't ask for the whole 500,000, you need 10% of whatever you're asking for as a match. So if your project that you identify only costs you 100,000, then you need
10,000.
10,000.
That not apply to our kiosk? I mean, couldn't that,
For the content development,
And get two.
Even the fact that
yeah, I
getting
was
two.
gonna say,
And get two of them.
not the shell, but the
With
content.
the content.
And then the content would be the same, so it's
Right.
one, right? Or you'd want to separate.
When is this
Would
grant
you have
due?
to have the kiosk
August
to,
1st. Did you all get it?
Yeah.
I'd like to know, like, what, I know she's on the next thing, I'd like to know what calculator costs, but I don't know that we could have her work with us and get this in by August 1st, like, that's just not realistic. Because if we can have something more comprehensive and more, like, professionally, design, or execute, I don't know the word, that's not the word I'm thinking, planned, I think.
execute something within the time that's given to us?
Yeah.
To put something together.
Because I mean, it's a big grant, but that needs thought.
do you know who Wally used, Marty, to do the one I liked was about the visitor guide, not the visitor guide, but the bike guide. That was a really cool, but I think one on maybe on our guide, the content of our guide, just like he did one of the trails.
But I think a video of like restaurants is, unless it's
You know,
dynamic,
it's-
is,
And this would go, the things that are in the
Well,
guide.
they change so much, I just wouldn't wanna go there and spend that kind of money on restaurants. Or it
I
might become too much.
mean, I think really focusing, say, let's just focus on an outdoor recreation promotion, because all those people who are coming with their bikes, they have money, and they're staying at your hotels, they're shopping at your shops. They spend money in the community.
Well, I don't wanna just focus on bikes, I would like to focus on outdoor recreation, and I like to focus on the lake, and the Trinidad Dam, and I like to focus on outdoor recreation, but I just don't wanna pull one thing
But what I'm
for-
saying is biking, hiking, kayaking, I mean, that's kind of what we have right here, and then maybe hunting and jeeping, if you wanna add a couple of others,
So
you know.
what I'm looking at here is the selection criteria. And so if the committee will score the applications on these criteria, strength of tourism recovery focused marketing campaign could be based on how many trails have been used in this area, the Fisher's Peak acquisition, and our outdoor recreation, including the Rad Fest and the other biking things that have gone on. Demonstrated recovery need could surely show the downtown area. We could write on current trend levels for downtown people, and you could get some statistical information from that from the hotels, and I would help you. Provide measurable tourism impact. There may be more restaurants that have opened in this area that are struggling, that need that downtown need. Implementation capacity, how we are all together as a group to ordinary, what all the organizations that are putting out outdoor recreation, what city council is doing for outdoor recreation, what we have hired recently, an outdoor recreation director. So to give you ideas on how we can write and focus so that we could win this grant based on, and the budget and the timeline. So, I don't know about that, but I think your idea is, Dawn, is a great one, is maybe the outdoor recreation, because we have so many different, so you have to focus so that we win, and so maybe that outdoor recreation piece and all the different pieces of the city and the groups that have had those, so that we can fall into that.
Well, and I think in terms of what we would use it for, possibly content development, audio, video, photography, videography, maybe also social media and public relations initiatives to really, get people in here. And really focusing on digital marketing, PR, and content development. Because then we can have a treasure trove of new content that also Marty can use in all of the tourism stuff, that the city would own, and that stuff can get reused. And of course, within that, bikes in front of the First National Building, you see the historic architecture. I mean, it's not exclusive just to a bike on a trail, right? They can show them.
Then we have bike racks downtown, that was a partnership between, the Main Street group and the city, and what the tourism's done in advertising to promote that outdoor recreation. And so maybe that would be the slide that we would push through, is something to do with outdoor recreation, so that we.
And I think if we focus on that realm of our tourism and really focus on some of that content development, and then the media that we're going to push it out with, with the
And even the rad bike that we have, I'm sure they have some filming on it.
they have a lot of filming there.
Yeah,
Great content.
and just put this all together of the things that are going on here.
Can we use Jared, we're speaking of Jared, to help us out with this?
And,
Sure.
and even,
But you need to identify what you wanna do. Do you want an outdoor recreation guide? Do you want, videos produced? What do you want? You need to decide what
Maybe
you
a
want.
cohesive outdoor advertising program, advertising some of the things that everybody has started and all the different fractions. But I think you would be able to show that, as it says here, that focused on, everybody working together. I think you can surely show all the different areas
Okay.
of Trinidad working together.
But would you ask whether you want a brochure
Yeah, I
or
think,
video?
I
And
think-
I personally think the video because everybody's on their phone.
well, I think both video and additional digital content that can be reused multiple times. The
Yeah.
problem with the guide is I feel like so many of our trails are in their infancy, and anything you're printing is gonna be
Well, I agree, and I just don't, there's so many of those little guides or books around, and I think so many people are using their phone and how to get to it. You said yourself on the kiosk, we don't want anything that people could look on their phone for. We want them to use our kiosk, and that's what people are doing, is their phone.
I mean, I like printed guides.
I do too.
I think the bike guides are beautiful. I think they're really nice, and I personally love a map. But I think for what we need at this point, where we're at as a town, the digital content, and I really feel like that's what we should be focusing on in terms of like
Well,
what
since we
we're
have
gonna
the
build.
page for it.
And then add, working with a public relations or a marketing company on some advertising to actually get it out into the world. I mean, you can take lots of pictures, but if they sit on your phone like mine all day, then they do nothing for you, right? So then some process to use them, engaging with a PR firm or a marketing firm or some kind of social media firm to really help us put together a comprehensive
Right.
marketing plan.
So Eva has something concrete to walk away with.
I like that outdoor rec is the direction, so.
Right.
That's what we're here, that's what we gotta do,
we're here,
outdoor
is we wanna
recreation.
focus on outdoor recreation. Okay, so putting a package together with video or print or whatever, that's something you can do. You can put something together as a campaign, so to speak,
Right,
and
yeah,
include those different elements.
yeah.
I'd like to at some point, we're in advertising and promotion, a little off topic, but right in there is to see Trinidad and that outdoor area piece that when we develop, get more bang for our buck in places like Moab, where people are there for the weekend to get outdoor recreation. Trinidad's name for outdoor recreation.
And I think
You
it'll
must have
go
been reading my
further.
mind, because I was just thinking.
I think it'll go further, if the digital will go further. I think we could go further right now with the digital rather than a book. Yeah.
So what else do you need from us, Teresa?
Budget, timeline.
Well, it says 10% we can throw in, so I guess what we decide we're gonna throw in, then if we throw in 10,000, she's going for 100,000.
Right.
So if we go 20,000, she's gonna go for 200,000, they got a lot of money, so think about it.
I mean, how much money do we have? I mean, I'd love to go for 200,000 because
Yeah.
that digital
What-
marketing is not cheap, right?
Right, we just saw these things for 50,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And the digital can also be
Yeah.
used.
yeah,
I was
we can
thinking
use that
50,
content online,
right.
so that's
Yeah.
great, yeah, but, I mean, do we have 20,000? Do we have?
Yes, we do.
We
Yes,
can
we do.
transfer it over.
So should we do 20,000 and go for 200,000 on
Yes.
grant?
And can we gotta wait for a regular meeting to do this, or we still work?
We have a
It's on the regular
it's on the
meeting
one right next
agenda.
to it. So we're gonna end this puppy dog real quick.
Yeah, so it's the last item on your regular meeting agenda.
Okay.
Grant application approval, so if you'll decide now how much you want to spend.
How much has the tourism board spent in American Rescue Plan funding for specific recovery tactics? The same tactics cannot receive funding through this grant. So what tactics have you used?
We haven't spent enough that it would matter, because even if we did some work with them, it's very little amount, and it wouldn't have anything to do with this.
Tourism board has not used any of those ARPA funds. They
Okay,
have not applied for any ARPA funds. The
Okay.
city has, but the tourism board has not.
yeah, so the specific tactics,
None.
okay.
So we're not bound by
And then-
anything.
And what's that other grant that y'all have right now, the reimagining destinations? That's through C2.
We could do a modified
For that one.
television campaign too.
Right.
We had the video going to
Technical assistance or something?
Albuquerque.
Even the Pueblo and spring stations.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's good.
Yes, it is. I mean,
my belief is we're so diluted. We advertise in Pueblo, Colorado Springs and everything else, because we're here. They've got to go through it. I think pulling people north and getting them to stop here that are already going in. So I think that's discussion for another day, but I think,
When it comes to recreation, if you actually are going from Spring or Pueblo to Denver, you see so many boats and trailers coming to Pueblo. We have a lake that's underused.
Well, those people from Pueblo and Carl Springs are coming, and I tend to agree that none of you guys have storefronts on street, and you get the people from Carl Springs, and you are getting the people from Amarillo.
So,
When you say just advertise
so I
down
say all
there,
points.
we're getting total people coming down here, and they are coming to our lake. They are bypassing Pueblo because it's too crowded and they don't like it, and they're going to our lake. So if you get out and talk to people, that's what you're seeing right now, and that's what I'm seeing as a business owner. I'm seeing them coming from both directions, big time.
Trinidad Lake State Park has been booked.
Booked
Yeah.
all the time, and I've gone out
You
there
cannot- you
and
can't get in there.
that are from Denver and Colorado Springs that are using our lake.
So they are being utilized.
Yes, they are.
I think with
Yeah.
gas prices right now, which is probably temporary though, it's also so much closer for those people coming from Texas to get to something that's alpine than
Well,
going
they're
clear.
coming anyway.
But
from
my
Texas. It's
point
just-
is, I saw them last
natural.
summer come from both directions. They were coming,
Gas
they're
prices
not
cheaper.
coming just for one or the other. I'm seeing it, since last year or the year before, I'm seeing overabundance of people coming out of Denver and Springs to utilize our lake and to come down here on day trips to spend the day. Not just Texas anymore, they are coming from Denver and Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
You can count on
And
that.
what I'm talking about, Luke, I'm talking about up there, you've got 15 different ads hitting you for different things, Trinidad and everything else. When you go south, if you're doing things there, you got 5 or 6. So your bullets are bigger. Your hits on the
I think dem-
your
I think demographics.
hits on the potential customers are more effective.
I'm seeing more
Because-
people come from the Dallas-Fort Worth area than I've seen from Amarillo and Lubbock. So, it's just,
Well,
it's
But
wide
that's
out
anecdotal
there.
data, we need
That's-
actual real data.
But Dallas falls in the same
Okay.
category that I'm talking about as
So just to move on a little bit, I just wanted this money that we're talking about on the table,
Yes.
which I really believe that we should always shoot for as best as we can be. Do we have 25,000? Would that be a $250,000? Do we have 30,000? You can go up to 50,000. Is it, should we try for the 50,000, a $500,000 to put advertising and marketing outdoor recreation for the city of Trinidad?
Then we go north and south.
Well, not only that, maybe we can go into other things too that we do, it's.
Well, I think we should focus, if we want the grant, we need to focus on something. If you go into everything, I think then you're gonna water down your prospects of getting a grant.
Well, with 500,000, you can go a long way.
Yeah, but
I
it
mean,
doesn't
we
go
could-
that far when you
We
start
could
paying
get
for
in
advertising.
TV and radio markets in Moab and Crested Butte and Breckenridge and places that people are going right now to do outdoor recreation. I don't know, but what do you think?
Marty's rubbing her forehead, so I'm looking at Marty right
When
now.
would this have to be spent? Do you know so the application deadline's the 1st of August, when is the,
That last page has the whole timeline, so up to 2 years from grant agreement.
so we have 2 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we didn't get that well, I mean, I don't know, CTO, the Colorado Tourism Office likes Fisher's Peak and they like the highway wetlands,
I
so
think we ought to
if we use
try to go
those
for,
outdoor assets.
So outdoor recreation, I think, is really a good choice.
yeah,
I
I do.
They have a warm spot in their heart for our Fisher
Let's
Peak.
go for $300,000.
300,000.
I mean, so,
30,000.
yeah,
That's 30,000.
if they think that we can deliver, and so the bigger the project, the
So
bigger
the harder it
question,
is
yeah.
to stay on task.
Yeah, so
Right.
the bigger thing is that we.
Maybe 200,000, then we should go for 200,000?
I think we need to just get the numbers from, what's her name, Kathy? So we just need the numbers from the source that we've been using.
Oh, we're not using,
For what, the source for what?
Aren't you talking about hiring someone to create the content? Kathy is
We're
doing
talking
that.
about hiring her to do consulting with us as a
Consulting.
town of how to really promote Trinidad.
So what does she charge?
That's-
What are her-
This is,
what are-
Well, we don't know if we're gonna-
this is part of the discussion today, and.
we don't know if she's gonna be ready for this August 1st thing, so.
Well, you don't have to have it ready, but you just have to have.
As long as we know what we're going after, and then we can execute the plan after with her.
And she's the former director of the CTTB.
So when you get her numbers, then that will help.
Okay.
I think otherwise it's just.
So we actually
Yeah,
have
just
something,
speculation.
Numbers, and you need to make some concrete decisions
But
on
I've
it.
got-
Right, we need to make concrete decisions now,
So-
not with Kathy Ritter and her numbers. Yeah.
Well,
So-
then whose numbers would you be using? You have to,
They
Well,
have to identify what they wanna do, so if they're going to do a video, then we need to get some estimates on what
Right.
video is
Right.
gonna cost. So
And
there's
what
your
it takes
numbers
to
on one end.
broadcast and.
If you're going to do print marketing, then you need to figure out what types of print are you gonna do? Are you gonna do individual pieces of advertising? Are you gonna do a print?
No.
USA
So-
Today.
so
Outdoor
what-
recreation guide? Are you gonna, what are you doing?
This is
So
where
when we
we don't
talk-
have a
So
plan.
those are the costs that you need to put together into a packet so that we have some concrete numbers to deliver to Talitha so she can write the grant.
So let's say, just roughly, $100,000 of that money into content creation, or $150,000 of content creation, and then the rest of it into the actual marketing dollars.
Yeah.
And into, PR, which is hopefully free, but you still have to hire somebody to push the PR out, right? And then, but that doubles your money because you're getting, articles written about you. Maybe a certain amount for social media influencing and for social media advertising, maybe another 100,000, and then the other 50,000 for radio or whatever. That doesn't go very far. I have very different feelings about TV
I do
advertising
too.
because we don't watch TV anymore.
I don't watch
The
TV.
same thing. So I think it's a lot of money, and I don't know, unless you have a huge marketing campaign or a really big budget for TV, I just don't know that it's as valuable, but we can talk about that another day, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how much a YouTube ad costs, so.
You can advertise as much or as little as you want. So the one thing with social media is you can say, I want to reach a radius of 100 miles from here, and I can put $10 a day into that, or I can put $10,000 a day into that.
But
And
to
then
get
you
this grant, you need to be very specific.
Yeah.
You can't just say, we're gonna do social media campaign. It has to be very specific so that they have an idea of exactly what you're doing. A marketing campaign has to be very specific. Your
Okay.
deliverables have to be very specific.
So if we could get Kathy Ritter down right away and she'll give us these pinpoints, then we could give it to her. So we gotta try to get her down here right away to see if she could give us some.
Has anybody had a conversation with her yet? We've been
I
talking
have
about this
not had a
for 3
conversation
months
about
now.
this, but at the beginning, to find out if she was available, I did have a conversation with her, and she said she was interested. Since, just to verify that before we started talking about it, but nothing's good.
Yeah.
do you
And
want to
then
talk?
those were good metrics, you
I don't have her
mentioned.
contact information, I'm happy to talk to her.
And then
Like,
those
I
are,
don't do you
One of
like-
the issues you're gonna have is different opinions, because I disagree with you totally on television. But because I've been a media buyer for a long time, and there are specific things that people still watch on television. And you can pinpoint and do that, so, we either need to find a way to compromise, or have one person that comes in and we agree to go with their expertise.
Marty,
I just
And
think one
she's-
ad on
she's-
one
Not
television
that you're
show.
wrong, it's
Just 'cause
just
the
the opinion's
cost.
different.
The cost is so expensive to do one ad in one market during one program is about all your budget's gonna cover if you have $100,000. I mean, it's just such expensive.
Well,
Well, we did someone with, was it KKTV? Was it KKTV we did some stuff with?
The weather.
Oh, yes, the campaign that you did with.
Yeah.
And we paid 20,000 for what we got with them. So, and it was quite a bit that we got with them. So, we just have to come to an agreement as to where we're gonna go with this campaign.
well, where it would be most effective, Again, it goes back to what I was saying, anything we hit in a major market up there is gonna be diluted, just because there's so much. You go into some of the smaller markets,
But we need to look at the demographics in those markets too, you know.
Granted, but we know that there are people traveling, from that direction. Again, it's gonna be, 5 opinions, basically, unless we do get somebody that has a bit more expertise.
Well,
So to nail down things as far as what you wanna do, is the plan to talk to Kathy Ritter, and when is that taking place? You guys, this conversation has happened about Kathy Ritter for the last probably 5-6 meetings, and it hasn't reached.
But we haven't had it on our agenda at any one point, right? Because it keeps getting pushed off.
So it's
Yeah,
on your
we did.
agenda, future
So-
marketing,
so-
Don Richardson, you need to decide what you're doing with the future of your marketing.
so that's what we're gonna do. Dawn's gonna get a hold of her,
Okay,
and then, we'll ask her when she can either come down and visit with us next week.
Yeah, let me see let me talk to her and see what she's doing. Let
Okay.
me see if she has materials.
And give her kind of an idea of what we're going after, the campaign we're going after.
Do you have a phone
and
number for
grant.
her?
I just came back to think about that and I don't. When she
Before we get
responded,
started, I'm gonna run down.
Okay.
I only know her through her capacity of CTO.
let me see if I do.
I might have a friend who has her number though, because car is small.
I had it in a 5280 and I cannot find that page that it was on. But that's where I got it from. She had an article in 5280 of what she was doing.
I might be able to search that.
No, that is her current email address, so I just.
Okay, I'll email her and then I'll see if I can get her phone number from my friend.
okay. We gotta get this out before I forget about it. What is this discussion? Petitions and communications. I'm up on that one, okay, guys? Don't let me forget.
We're only on number 4, Tom's
I
gonna
know.
do the tourism ban.
I'll wait for Chris to come back.
I need to go to the bank. Someone remind me to go to the bank.
Go to the bank.
Go to the bank. Our farmer's market was very successful. Come on, seriously? It's not in the car, is it?
What you need?
I feel like going out into the car and get it because. Pass this down. And then I'll talk about it. Okay,
Okay, the van, still working on it. We're trying to get the prices for the handicap accessible to it. So,
Are there any even available right now? Just 'cause-
well, been the problem is finding one. They had one and it was a Chevy and then, they lost it.
Yeah, because
So
those.
it's when COVID came, the manufacturing of these vans, it's been the problem, the 15-passenger van, and then once we buy the van, then it's gonna go to a separate place to be modified for that, so I never realized it was such a long drawn out process, for the
Well, and you
boat.
have to have 3 bids too.
No, if I'm buying through this one,
Oh, through the city, with the
right, so I
city.
only have to have the one, so. I already talked to,
Cheryl.
not Cheryl, I talked to, Mike and, Kim. So that's right at that, so that's where we're at with that.
So
It's
we
still
haven't
working.
made any progress.
Well,
No, okay, let's, okay, move on.
The progress is trying to put it together,
Right.
so that's where we're at, okay?
Okay,
Short-term rentals report?
so I sent an email out from, Chris Christmas is his name, and he reached out, he's with Key Data Dashboard. And I asked if anybody was interested, if anybody wanted feedback. Cy asked for feedback, Wally asked for feedback. I followed up with it, he sent the report out. I did send that out to you for you to take a look. So short-term rentals report is in your packet. What he said was, he sent a snapshot of our dashboard, so particular to our area, to Trinidad. First, he provided a market supply overview. This is for Los Angeles County, and that is the green charts in your packet, where you can see the units specifically. Most of them are centered in the Trinidad area. The last overview is for 4 of the, I don't know what a KPI is. I have no idea what a KPI is. Anybody?
Where I don't see where that is at.
It's on the last page.
Key visitor points on the map. So those short-term rentals on the map on the back page, most of them are central to Trinidad, but you'll see more as far as Stonewall, Levita, outside of Ludlow. There's a couple in Honey, Starkville, Jansen, Cokedale. Those are the key visitor points. And then he also, there's 129 short-term rental listings in our county. In the last year, is that the time period? In 2022, 591 individuals have rented those 129 listings.
I guess
88 of those were Airbnbs, 36 of those are VRBOs, and 5 of those are both. So they have charts of kind of breaking them down. Some have air conditioning, some have a fireplace. Some are houses, some are apartments, some are hotels, some are private rooms. So that kind of gives you an overview of short-term rentals in the county specifically.
Hey, Maria, I know at one point we weren't collecting the sales tax on either one of them, but then they started collecting them on, do you remember which one?
Airbnb is what's collected
So-
right now, but VRBO is, I think
Is
we're
the one
getting
that-
theirs now.
We're getting both, so we're getting
I think
both
we
of
are.
the
I'll have
revenue for both of them?
I'll have to follow up with Cheryl, but I'm sure we are because she mentioned it just in the last department head meeting. She said we were getting VRBO.
Okay,
129 places is another hotel in town.
yes,
That's the total listings.
right.
And then the unit
That's how
type
many-
here.
that's how many have been rented out.
How many hotels are also on those? Do you know? Do we know?
The only hotels that I know that are on there is, no, like the Main Street Motel also puts on Airbnb, they got a couple extra rooms, because they don't normally get lined up like when you're looking for a hotel, so they fill themselves on Airbnb.
So is this this is 129 bedrooms or 129 units?
129 places that they rent. And then RevPAR is revenue per available room, so it means that if you rent your room for $126, it looks like right now is the average daily rate.
Where are you seeing that one? Over
On
here?
the next page, they're doing, but it's only a 30% occupancy, which is surprising, and that's why the revenue per available room only shows 35, because that's spread out over 7 days.
But I wonder, I mean, this is the whole county though, so I'm wondering what it is in town.
Oh, it is the county?
I think he's put a picture of the county and on the data.
Oh,
he
yeah,
wrote-
that
Well, yeah.
And on the data that they wrote, they didn't say to the town of Trinidad specifically, did they? Marty, did he say?
No, the map shows up to.
No, he said he provided a market supply overview for Los Angeles County, but looking at the included map, you can see where those units are specifically, and most of them are centered in Trinidad.
Yeah, so it's hard to know if that 30% occupancy gets watered down because
Yeah,
you've got
that makes sense.
stuff in other
Wally
places.
told me he was almost constantly busy.
Constant occupancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is,
And one moves out, and another moves in.
And it depends a little bit on how they structure it. Is he doing nightly rentals? Is he doing 3 days at a time? Is he doing monthly rentals? Do you know?
I think it depends on what they're asking for. So if they're asking for a one night, he does one night. If they're asking for 3 nights, he does 3 nights.
It would be interesting to see what the average number of nights are and then what the numbers are specifically for just the town of Trinidad in the town limits. Because
that's the revenue we get, is just
Yeah.
only from the town.
I
We
mean,
don't get
I see
outside the city
a
limits.
unit in Cokeville, but I'm guessing that doesn't have the same occupancy as one that's right downtown. But I
Well,
could be wrong.
Penny's got one in Cookdale. She says she's constantly sold.
Oh, the people I know can go to the constantly busy, but we don't collect on.
Right.
You know,
We only-
on them. Yes, the
we
data
Los
that matters.
Angeles County does not have a tourism tax, just the city.
So the data that matters to us is the town.
Right,
And also the occupancy, I'm really curious about.
So that being said,
okay.
Thank you, Marty.
Wally does have a new data collection app. It's called Placer. Actually, it's the cities, and anybody can use it. So if anyone in particular wants to geofence a location, we can geofence the city limits, and you can find out you can get that information off of that. So if that's something you want to do, you can move forward with that.
When you talk about geofence, what do you mean about that?
They collect data within a specific area.
So in other words,
Based
we
on the
want,
pings
we
on
want
phones
our
and
data collected within the city
within the
limits.
city limits.
Right.
And do we get, that tax off of, Monument?
No.
Since that's Trinidad?
Yeah, but that has always been a question for me. Somebody told me yes and somebody told me no, and I don't know what the answer of that is if we get a tourism tax off a monument because it becomes the city of Trinidad again. Even though it's located in the county.
It's city owned.
Because it is a city-owned.
Yeah, no, I asked about that with Brett and the stuff he was doing out there.
I guess the best thing to do would be ask the motel itself, is if they're collecting the tourism.
Well, Cheryl would know.
Yeah.
Because they would have to pay her. But I don't think so.
Well, then, that's a little bit of a hiccup, Marty. I would ask the city and for them to consider that. They want us to go ahead and back Monument Lake in our advertisements, but we don't get any of the
The revenue.
advertising monies.
So,
Okay.
could you
Okay.
do, I guess check with Cheryl first. Thank you. Tourism budget report.
Cheryl provided this budget report so that you can, this is year to date, so it's the most up to date report you've got.
Oh, I have to look at my check.
And by any chance, did she, the actual numbers are here.
The reserve.
No, the actual numbers aren't here.
The reserve is what I was looking for, Marty. I don't see it.
And I've asked her time and again to provide reserves, and she's just not understanding what I'm asking for, so you might want to connect with her on reserves.
I will.
I mean, this email that I sent to get this report actually said, and Tom is gonna ask, I kid you not, Tom is gonna ask what we have in reserves, and she said, what are you talking about?
Well, because one of the biggest things is that's gonna tell us how much money's going in. And that's where it's going to, is the money from the Airbnbs, right?
Airbnbs is going
Airbnbs.
into reserves? No,
No,
It's lodging tax.
Airbnbs are paid into lodging taxes, so your tourism lodging tax, that number that says 84,500, your
Uh-huh.
year-to-date actual,
So
that's where your lodging taxes are put
okay,
into.
all right.
I make note that this says 2022 period ending in 5/31, and it says our fiscal activity is $85,000. That is only one quarter because it's not beyond 6/15.
Right.
So if we were to times that by 4, just to give us an average, it would be over 360,000 without our summertime. And our budget is at 358, so we will have more money this year than we planned.
Right.
Just as a note.
Yes.
Is this just Q1 or is this up to May 15th, so the,
It's
well,
just-
1 through 5?
yeah, they only pay quarterly, March 15th, June 15th, so it's only got one
Just
season.
Okay.
And that's actually your lowest period.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, oh, thanks, Marty, that's.
So hopefully it'll stay steady and we'll be okay.
Well, and everybody's raised their rates, I don't think occupancy's that much impounded, but everyone's raised their rates. Because it costs more to operate.
Yeah,
Because you can't pay anybody less than $15 an hour anymore.
when do you keep your occupancy?
Well, the whole town's at 100% right now.
How are you staffing that? Are you dying?
We're charging higher rates so we can pay people more so they work. Yeah, I have people making $15, $16, $17 an hour that I far over minimum wage that I never would have in the past because.
So if you'll go into each of the departments on page 2 of your report, Visitor Welcome Center is in the black, so we're at 50%, which is just about right because we're half a year through. Your tourism expenses, outside contract services, if you want to go through each line item, advertising and publications. Took a bit of a hit on that one that's not reflected on here is you just did a reprint in your visitor guides. And I did let you know that the printing costs for that, went way sky high. So at some point, we might have to continue any kind of advertising in any publications or radio or anything. We might have to borrow from Peter to pay Paul, and that usually comes out of outside contract services. You don't want to dip into that too much though, because that's where you will pay somebody like Kathy Ritter. So if you're going to do a contract, it might be wise to, I don't know, maybe start your contract in January when you have a new budget. Just a suggestion, but anyway, your billboards are going to be renewing. Postage is, we're holding steady on that because I actually increased our postage a little bit. Training, travel, and mileage, that will cover your governor's
Mexico
conference. Our trip to Mexico?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to Mexico.
Okay, I'm going with her.
No, your governor's conference coming up, so you'll pay for it.
When are we going for that? What, where? Breckenridge.
Is that in September or October?
Snowmass.
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 And when is that?
September, the end of September?
I
Book
think
it.
it's October this year.
Oh, October.
So can we book this now?
Book.
They're not taking reservations
Okay.
yet, but yeah, they will.
Who's going?
Because I'm
Let's just put it, say, who's going?
I'm going. You're going?
I don't know where we're going.
Maybe.
I'll go.
So-
We're going to Snowmass.
Yes.
I mean, I think the governor's conference is worth going to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's definitely, you learn so much.
So
And-
the last item, I got to stay on track.
Okay.
Back to work. Local festival funding. So
Okay.
you do have your next quarter coming up. You have a balance of 46,000.
And that's,
So you've used almost 50%. Most of your grants were already, your major grants for your annual events are already kind of went through, like your Trinidad and those. Artocade will probably come out of this one. I already have 4 grant applications thus far. It closes June 30th.
Is there anything new, Marty, on the grant applications?
No.
are the ones that you have coming, are they into the fall?
Yeah, Artocade is.
Can I go back to that conference? Can we ask if, like, the city manager, who's the new city manager? Are we gonna do it temp? Or even somebody else on this, our city council go with this so they could bring it back to the council, how important these things are?
Well, you bring it back to the council.
Yeah, but you
Well,
know,
the city council,
I just
let them
want
know
to-
what it's all
Well,
about.
I just wanted to be present, because every time we go to a conference, there's either somebody from the city council, the mayor, the city thing, and we're like lone ducks out there.
Well, Phil was in
Phil was there the first year.
Yeah, that's right, he was
He
in
was
Denver.
in
He
Denver.
was.
But,
was-
you know,
Okay, shame on me.
the thing of it is, you know, the offer is always to get me. he could go represent the city.
Well,
And he's
okay.
our liaison, so he can give that report to the city, as well as we can.
Okay, shut my mouth.
How's the current trolley running?
Excellent, it just got a full, I just put it in the garage last month, it got a full overhaul, got brand new tires.
Looks pretty, I saw it going around the
It's
other day.
doing
And the
good.
bumps, the dips and everything are good.
We've conquered all the dips.
I'm all
We just had to figure out a new route so that we weren't going through that anymore. It was a little creative mapping.
Street.
Creative mapping. There's a lot of trolley tours, special reservations.
Awesome.
So we have the Texas Historical Foundation that'll be coming in June. So they're using it. Our Creative District used it for theirs. We had a family reunion, we have a school reunion coming. It gets rented on a regular
So
basis,
trolley tours are normally 10 to 3 every day of the week this time of year?
10 to 4,
10 to 4.
Monday through Saturday. We canceled this Sunday. Arcade's closed, the museums are
Okay,
closed.
that's okay, I just realized I had to put that in my lobby app and I needed to.
Yeah.
Do you rent it all on that day?
Do I rent it on Sundays?
Yeah, no,
Well, I mean, I haven't had any reason to, but no,
that would be a good day
it would be a good day.
to book it.
And
Yeah,
who's
so
all
I had-
driving it now?
I'm sorry?
Who's all driving the trolley?
Tyler Hahn and Rich Claflin. And
Rich has been doing it for a long time.
Rich does it 3 days and Tyler does it 3 days. I did increase my gasoline budget a little bit when I
Yeah.
did the budget last year in anticipation, and actually we're coming in by the skin of our nose. I'm barely covering gas, but we made it without being in the red.
yes.
Does it do pretty good on gas?
Not particularly, but one of the things that I had to be creative about was they were letting the trolley run.
Oh, so you shut it off.
So I told them, I said, shut that baby off. If there's nobody to ride it, shut it off.
Well, and then idling also creates lots of air pollution, so it's better to shut it off.
Yeah, so we're doing that. Not using the air conditioning unless we have to. So little things that we have to do to make ends meet. It's just kind of doing that. Anything else on the budget?
One other thing on the budget, like if we do this grant and we go for the 200,000, is that what we agreed on?
You would need 20,000
We would
match.
need 20,000. Okay, so we just have to make sure that,
And you have it,
okay.
you have it.
I thought we were going for 300,000.
Yeah, I thought so too.
We went up to 5 and we
Yeah,
still went
down
to
to
the 5,
back to
came back to
three.
3.
So we're at 3 then,
Just a few
so
more $1,000 that we need, so.
Where are we?
we're down here at website management, city hiring.
Okay, so as you know, I just wanted to report to you that Sarah Dixon is no longer going to be doing our website. So we're having a conversation citywide. There's a department head meeting today. Probably talking about what we're going to do about our website management. So if they hire one individual, would that individual, or that individual would, it's being proposed that they manage the websites, the city website, the tourism website, and social media and other things like that. So that would be a position that they may be creating. There's discussion.
Okay.
In the meantime, I don't know a whole lot about the back end. I can change a few things, but anything major that we need to make changes to, like the trolley map that we'd really like to get on there, I can't do that. I don't know enough about it, so we're gonna have to wait until we get somebody hired.
Okay,
All right,
adjourn this meeting, go into a regular meeting at 10:27. Call to order.
Campbell.
here.
Chris.
Here.
Michaels.
Here.
Miller.
Still here.
Richardson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Petitions or communications, oral or written? Do you
Okay, I
any?
have something. I just passed around an invitation for,
I didn't see it.
the college archaeology. And from my understanding, the college got buku bucks, they're gonna redo their library, okay? They were gonna put all this stuff in the archaeology museum in storage until they got a hold of the state. And the state said, if you do that, we are taking everything from you. It's like another history museum scenario. And the president of the college backed off and said, we can't do that. There are some amazing artifacts. And I'm included on that when I was talking to them, that probably none of us have seen.
You're one of the artifacts?
The artifacts of the college. I'm one of the artifacts. But anyway, they invited us all up there on Friday to go. They are not putting them in storage. They will lose funding, they will lose the artifacts. So they're hoping now to, when they remodel the library, this will be included on the upstairs floor. So I think, personally, we need to start advertising that place a little bit more. We go up on our trolley, we take them on our trolley, and I think we are under evaluating that place altogether as far as it goes, because there are some great things in there. Has anybody been in that thing recently?
Well,
You have.
I mean, a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago.
The archaeology museum is on our tour, it is a stop, and our visitors get off and
Get
go
off,
in.
and I agree with you, they do that, and I know that. And I think we as an entity, when we advertise Mighty Lake, the Bloom House, we ought to start advertising a little bit about that, if that's just a suggestion of mine.
You should go on our
It
kiosk.
should go someplace like that, because the stuff that's in that museum is very much underrated as far as their, but Denver didn't think so.
It is on our website,
Right, and
it
they were
is in our
gonna take,
visitor guide.
they were gonna
so-
take it, they threatened to put it in storage, they threatened to take it away from us. So that option never, they said, oh, we better not do that.
And that's Friday, 6 to 8
Six.
at the,
68
At the
at the
museum.
college, so they
You know
sent
where
that
it's at.
out, they're going around with these
Kind of.
posters.
The dinosaurs right there.
The dinosaur's right there, but you enter to the ground floor.
Yeah.
You wanna pass that around?
that's one of those places that I keep saying, I wanna go there.
Right, me
That's
too,
what it is.
and I apologize to them, me too, I said the same thing. So I just thought I'd throw that in there, it was very interesting to hear all that scenario that coming down that we weren't aware of, but it is, they're not doing
It's
that.
just
I
what
think
is,
it's amazing that they were redoing Santa Fe Trail in 1977, which doesn't seem long ago, since that's when I graduated from high school. And they find dinosaur bones on our Santa Fe Trail and closed it down.
And Marty, yes, I knew that was on our track, honey, I knew that, yeah, because they did mention that,
well,
Thanks.
we've already lost one treasure, and that's that Alton
That's
photograph.
what happened with all.
yeah.
Oh, we lost the furniture in the Blue Mansion.
Yeah, that week, the Blue Mansion, we lost that because
Darn it.
no one stepped up, but there was a couple people that called the state and basically said, then they called the college and said, wait a minute, you cannot do that, you cannot
Loretta
do
Martin does an excellent job.
Yes,
yeah,
She
she
does a
does.
great job.
Yes.
She's been curator there for what, over 30 years? Or even
Oh,
longer?
no, long
that.
time.
She's been there a long time, and she's the one that called Denver on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does real good, so. I
Anything
just would
else?
like anybody that
She
can
just
make it,
brought-
please make it.
She just brought some new rack cards down to the Welcome Center, so
Okay.
she's on this.
All right,
I'm gonna
good,
save it.
yeah.
Okay,
Anything
All
else
right.
on petitions or communications? Nothing else. Approval of minutes for May the 25th. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from
I second it.
May 25th.
Approval of invoices.
I think we gotta go, I.
Oh, for minutes.
oh, yes, please.
Aye.
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 Approval of invoices, and just doing them all at once, Marty?
Yep, there's nothing in.
I make a
out of the
motion to
ordinary.
pay our bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
New business, renewal of KCRT Phillips Broadcasting 2022 and 23.
Chris, you met with KCRT and rearranged the spots per month, is
Right,
that correct?
right.
Okay,
I did exactly what I proposed, meeting before last, and y'all said go do it, so.
so the cost did increase a little bit by $600.
Right,
For the year?
that was
For the
also
year?
requested and approved.
Yes.
So,
It was approved. We just need to approve the contract itself.
Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion since I did it.
I second it.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed?
Renewal out front media, I-25.
Out front media is the billboard south of Trinidad. The one that Chris redesigned last year, or helped redesign.
We don't wanna lose that. Can I have a
So,
motion?
motion to renew.
I'll make a motion to renew.
Oh, and I guess I'm second it, all in you.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed?
Grant application approval.
So that's the CTO grant that Talitha spoke on. Do you
So-
want to move forward with it? I just need a a vote to.
And an amount. Come to
And an
an agreement on an amount. Do we go 300?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
300.
300,000?
I make a motion, we go 300,000
I'll second.
on the grant approval.
And providing a 10% match of 30.
10% match.
Thank you.
We had, it was all green. Biggest word was discovered.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
So it changed. If we get some kind of a,
Yeah, cohesive thing, that's the word.
John and Chris?
Aye, done.
a theme or whatever.
Any opposed?
The digital kiosk approval is, do we put an amount on this, or are we gonna have, the city and they're gonna give us their 5,000? Do we put an amount on
All I
this?
need is your approval to move forward with it so that I know this is something you want to do. We can bring it back to the agenda with the cost and the
Okay.
finalization of which company you're
I
going
make
to
a
use.
motion to say what Marty just said right now. I don't want to repeat all those delicate words she just said. I will never remember them anyway. I make a motion to move forward with the digital cost.
Kiosk.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next meeting, July 13th, 2022, work session. Adjourned at 10:36 a.m.
We are way too agreeable. You know, this group.
We are way too agreeable. And, you know,
Well, nobody put their boxing gloves on today, so that was good.
Just FYI, the digital billboard and monument is gonna be renewing as well, so that'll be on your next agenda. If you wanna think about that.
I literally drive by that twice a month and I have yet to see it. I
I've
look
seen
for it
you're
every
gonna have to stop
seen
off
it.
the side of the road and
No.
look.
I look for it every time I drive there. I've
I
never,
never-
ever seen
Yeah.
it.
I have never had to stop off the road. It pops on right when I get down to the
Never,
bottom.
ever seen it.
Yeah.
Pass
And
it.
I literally drive that 4 times a month,
Marty,
because I go there and
Marty,
come back. Sometimes I go to
Marty,
Kansas City, but
Meeting's
they're
over,
like,
isn't it?